Homeworks by Precept Consultant Carabeth. I have 3 children and have been using BJU Press homeschool materials for 7 years. This past year, we used and loved K4 Footsteps for Fours with my youngest. This is a parent-led textbook kit and there's currently no video course available, but let me tell you, you don't want to miss out on how great this parent-led textbook kit is. My youngest and I had so much fun with our puppet friend Max and his family that we learned about in the listening stories. Max is not included in this textbook kit but can be purchased separately. I highly recommend it because Max kept my little one engaged as he appeared and interacts throughout the lessons. My child also enjoyed getting to play with him and make him bark, eat, or even talk. I can't wait to show you an in-depth look of the K4 Footsteps for Fours kit, so let's take a look inside. The K4 Footsteps for Fours kit comes with 4 teacher editions, 2 consumable workbooks, an activity packet and a writing packet, a visuals packet, a phonics, charts, and teaching tree packet, and practice cards. Let's take a look inside one of the teacher editions. When you open it up, you'll find a contents page, and you'll find a Getting Started section. This section will give you an in-depth overview of the goals and philosophy of the curriculum. Here is a Getting Started section about the materials that come with the kit. Here is an overview of the student materials, practice cards, activity packet, writing packet, and supplies you may want to have on hand. On the next page is an overview of the teacher materials, how to utilize the teacher editions, the purpose of the unit and weekly openers, about the lessons, where to find certain holiday units, as well as different ways the curriculum provides enrichment for the lessons. On the next page, you will learn what purpose each of the visual materials will serve. You can choose to display materials or store them to be pulled out as needed. We chose to display the teaching tree and the weather sentence strips as they are used daily and is a fun interactive way of learning letters, numbers, colors, and the weather and calendar skills. We also put the stick puppets to good use to put a face with the name of the characters. There is a character involved in most subjects and it really helps create a visual for what the child is being taught. Let's move on to more of the lesson features. Here we have a lesson plan overview. Within Footsteps for Fours, there are 13 units and 165 lessons. Here you will find the unit number and title, the week and title, the lesson number, assigned activity and writing pages, and the objectives for language arts, science, social studies, and math. Each unit is color-coded to distinguish one unit from another. The page numbers are also color-coded in the student activity and writing packets. At the beginning of each unit, there will be an opener that will introduce the unit theme and list the unit objectives. You will see this symbol BWS next to some of the objectives. This tells you this objective includes biblical world shaping. On the next page, you will find the sheet music and lyrics for that specific unit. Here is a resource tip you may not have known. You can actually find the recorded music on the Homeschool Hub under the course resources. Each week will have an opener with a preview of that week's materials that are needed to be gathered and prepared. It will go into detail on what visuals, craft supplies, and books to have on hand, and how to prepare the materials before each lesson for that week. Each week will have a fun new snack that is tied to the lesson in a fun and creative way. This week in particular focuses on the color red, so the snack is red. If you love to get creative with food, and your kids do too, this is a great way for your children to learn with their senses. Let's take a look at what some of the lessons look like more in depth. At the top of the page, you will find the lesson number and title, the assigned activity and writing packet pages, and you will find the focus box that tells you the skills developed and assessed within the lesson. Each lesson will begin under the teaching tree. This is where you will cover weather and calendar activities, pledges, and brief reviews of the skills taught in previous lessons. Not every subject will be covered daily, but I will be showing you examples of each of the subjects you will cover weekly. In this lesson, we move from under the teaching tree to social studies. You will also find within each lesson it gives you the focus, suggested materials, and preparation for this portion of the lesson. In this particular lesson, you will be covering a basic understanding of a social event by celebrating Max's birthday. Within social studies, your child will learn about holidays, social interactions, people, places, helpers within our community, history, and more. In this lesson, we go from under the teaching tree to science. In this particular lesson, it covers how our bodies move and what the names are of certain body parts. This is a basic understanding of biology. K4 Science will cover a good mixture of foundational basics of life science, physics, chemistry, and earth science. You will even have the opportunity to do some hands-on science experiments and activities. Within the handwriting lessons, your child will be covering different skills such as pencil hold, tracking, tracing, letters, numbers, and also handwriting letters and numbers all on their own on a guided page. Here we have language arts. In this lesson, Sophie and Sydney introduce the letter of the day. They often appear to introduce what will be taught during the language arts portion of the lesson. This is where you will teach pre-reading, review previous letters learned, letter sounds, nursery rhymes, and often reinforce with an activity page. Here we have centers. This is going to be where suggestive free play, hands-on crafts or activities will take place. There is a section in the front matter that will go into more detail with suggestions for this portion of the lesson. Some lessons will have a specific activity listed and laid out in this section, like this one, where it suggests you use this time to focus on fine motor skills and the circle shape by using a circle pattern to trace circles on art paper. Here we have a math lesson where your child will be learning about the number 1. In some math lessons, there will be visuals or manipulatives that will be suggested for hands-on learning. That will be listed and shown here. One thing to note that you may have noticed is that each of the different subjects within a lesson have black and blue words. The black words tell you what to do and the blue words tell you what to say. This is just a guide. You do not have to follow it word for word, but it is designed this way to make it easy on you as the parent to be able to open and go without any lesson planning on your part. Feel free to read over it and modify it if you find it necessary. Within the math lessons, your child will be learning number recognition, counting, air tracing, number songs, ordinal position, positional words, math review, and more. Here we have a wrap it up section. This gives a quick review of key concepts from the lesson that day. Then we have more footsteps. This is a suggestion of optional activities to enhance the lesson being taught and learned. This often will include rhymes, story time, reinforcement activities, or crafts. Another part of weekly lessons that I wanted to highlight are the listening stories. These will sometimes appear in different subjects of different lessons. Within this portion of the lesson, you will tell the child what to be listening for. This teaches your child to pay attention to detail. You will also pause throughout the story to ask questions about that section of the reading. This will help to not overwhelm your child with so much information at once. So instead of doing all of the reading and having them answer all of the questions at once, it provides an approach that is appropriate for the K4 level of learning. This part of the lesson places a focus on comprehension and critical thinking skills. In the back matter, you will find more teacher resources, such as explaining the gospel, precursive handwriting strokes, songs, instructional aids, and assessments. These resources can also be found digitally on the Homeschool Hub under Course Resources. Let's take a look inside the student activity and writing packets. Here we have the activity packet. The spine of this packet is designed to make it easier for you to remove the activity pages. When you open it up, you'll find the contents page. Each lesson will typically only have one activity page, sometimes none, and they are only one-sided. Some of the activity pages focus on motor skills like placing stickers, folding, cutting, gluing, and coloring. Some will be geared towards math, science, social studies, or language arts. The activity pages are meant to supplement the lesson by reinforcing concepts that were taught. I love that even when reinforcing with an activity page, your child will be learning and practicing to think critically at an age-appropriate level. Before you get to the very back of the activity packet, you'll find stickers that are included for specific activity pages, as well as additional Eager Beaver reading booklets for advanced learners. In the back of the activity packet, you will find supplemental activities on cardstock. Some are also visual aids, manipulatives, or stick puppets. Let's take a look at the writing packet. This packet is also designed to make it easier to remove the writing pages. In handwriting, your child will practice tracking and tracing shapes and lines,
practice staying within the lines, trace numbers, trace uppercase and lowercase letters, as well as having the opportunity to practice writing on their own beyond tracing. Let's take a look at the phonics charts and Teaching Tree Homeschool Packet. Within, you will find the phonics song charts, handwriting wall charts, alphabet teaching cards, teaching trees for each season, calendar and weather visuals, and teaching tree manipulatives. Here we have the Visuals Homeschool Packet. Inside this packet, you'll find visuals for colors, shapes, numbers, rhymes, social studies, math, science, story images, wall charts, and manipulatives. Now let's take a look at the practice cards. These include uppercase and lowercase alphabet letters, numbers 0 to 10, colors and shapes, and a bookmark of Max. Here are a few ideas on how to organize your manipulatives and visuals. We store the manipulatives in small plastic containers. The bigger manipulatives will stay neat just by placing them in the container. But with the smaller manipulatives, they tend to go all over if you leave them loose, and then you have to pick through them to find what you need. So here's what I do. I combine like manipulatives and clip them together with a binder clip or a paper clip. Quick tip, you'll want to keep some sticky tack on hand to use the manipulatives with the teaching tree. You can store that with your manipulatives. For the large visuals, we simply binder clip the visuals together to keep them from going everywhere and place them on the shelf. Some other ways to store them would be to categorize them and place them in a folder. You could also 3-hole punch the pages and place them in a binder. Taking this a step further, you could use a divider to organize them by category within a binder.
I hope this look inside the K4 Footsteps for Fours was helpful to you. Thank you so much for joining me.